Welcome to another video about Chaos Zero Nightmare, and this is going to be a video specifically about Khalipe. She's quite an important character, quite an interesting one. Maybe many of you have her, maybe not, but she worth discussing because first of all, she's a great shielder. Second of all, she is able to deal damage and quite a decent one. So I believe she is the best hybrid character in this game right now, and even if you don't have her right now, aiming for her in any case scenario is going to worth it 100%. That's why discussing certain builds and the way how she is able to work is going to matter kinda a lot. There are quite few specs in which you're able to build her, and obviously the first one is going to be a pure defender. The second of all is going to be like a pure DPS, supportive DPS. It's like the matter in which team composition you're going to use here. So we're going to discuss all of these topics in this video. Let's begin. So first of all, we're going to start with your potential nodes. They are going to matter kinda a lot. First of all, due to the way how she is working and based on which locations, on which maps you're going to utilize here. So about the basic node, the first one, no questions about it, it's pretty much straightforward. For her second node, we're going to speak about the Upward Slash. Basically this is a 2 mana cost card, which is going to work from this moment specifically against all enemies, and it's quite a good improvement overall. You don't really want to delete this card from her, so because it costs 2 mana, it's one of the ways to activate her celestial cards. It's one of her core mechanics, and this is going to help you in certain cases. This one card you don't really want to delete during your run. The other aspect is going to be about her unique cards. Obviously working on this node is going to help you kinda a lot because her main damage cards and shield cards are unique. As well, from her basic cards, one of them is going to provide shields, and this might help you as well. About the neutral cards, it might be helpful. There are certain cards which are going to be beneficial to utilize with her in terms of shields acquisition, so this might be like a good one option, but not the top priority, I would say. From this node, we're going to receive critical chance for her, and this might be an important when we're speaking about building her as a DPS unit. Yeah, kind of. All the rest, like for now, they don't really matter that much. So when we're speaking about her memory fragments, basically gears, again depends on which situations you're going to use her. There are quite some sets which I believe are going to be meaningful to use with her. First of all, the set which is going to increase crit chance, because mostly her cards which you're going to use as a DPS cards, they're going to be 2 and more AP, so for them crit chance, having higher chances is going to be nice. Crit damage in this scenario, if we're talking about DPS pick, is going to matter as well. For other options which we might think about, for example, if we're going to use her as a pure support unit slash shielder, I believe in this case we might think about 2 set with HP, 2 set with defense, and 2 set with increased shield acquisition from basic cards. There is only 1 card, so it might be not the most optimal. Just for you to keep in mind, we're speaking about options, let's say. Yeah, the other aspect to mention is going to be about instinct damage output increase. Well, this one I believe might work for her, and it's like alternative option for sure. If hand has 4 or more cards, it's pretty much always, so might be useful here, but I'm not sure that is going to be the best fit here overall. And again, the other one option is going to be about probably or HP or defense, like hybrid DPS support build. I decided to go full on DPS spec, so I'm going to test this out and see how it's going to work in my case specifically, and later on probably I'm going to provide some update in terms of her. About her manifest ego, well, the first one we need to keep in mind is going to be about her unique card, Absolute Protection. Basically it's going to get a retain effect, so it's going to stay in your hand like forever until the moment you're going to use it, and it's a good one. Improvement overall shields is going to increase from this card, and you will be able to use this card whenever it's going to be needed, whenever you need to save the hand which you're going to have at this moment, specifically gain a lot of shields and survive certain turns, stages. So first her dupe is a great one. Improvement about the second one, it's going to work in a way when you're going to kind of shuffle the deck, and also at the beginning of the battle one wheelchair ejection card is going to be on top of the draw pile, so it's going to help you getting her key card, let's say, and basically activate it faster. With the shuffle effect, I believe it means, so basically the best fit for her, if we were talking about her as DPS unit, is going to be Cassius, the best fit. Maybe here we can think about Nia, because she's also able in a certain way shuffle the deck, discard cards and so on and so forth. I'm not sure that it's going to be related to the shuffle effect. The only shuffle card that we have is from Cassius. The next steps we're not going to speak about because I'm a free-to-play player, so reaching higher stages it's not like about right now specifically, but she's also about her silver veil stacks. Whenever she's going to get 3 of them, she's going to do a big nuke. Whenever is going to be the case, the amount of damage that she is able to provide during this rotation is going to be kinda huge, so obviously improving her advancements is going to matter kinda a bit. Now when we're speaking about her partner, so there are a couple options. Let's say if you want to build her in a supportive way and improve her damage output, let's say the Wilhelmia is going to be a good fit here, because she's also from her ego skill is going to provide moral and fortitude. The damage is going to be increased, the shield acquisition is going to be increased, and when a assigned combatant targets a vulnerable enemy, plus 20% defense-based damage of attack cards. She's all about defense-based attacks, so fitting here pretty much decent, and it's going to increase defense as well. Other alternatives which we might think about is going to be Rachel here, and she's going to increase skill card shield gain by 10%. When the assigned combatant gains shield, 20% chance to gain 1 counter attack. Not a bad option. Also from her ego skill, she's going to provide shields and draw 1 card, so it's more like a supportive spec, specifically like for shielders, straight up. Now most important about her cards, what do we have here? So first of all, this card with 1 mana, the attacking card, you want to delete it, it's going to be kinda useless to be honest. The upward slash, you want to keep this up, it's helpful in certain cases to again activate her vulture ejection and some other epiphanies, let's say. The Tears Woe, this is a shield card, for her as a shielder this might be a decent one, providing shields, not a bad option, so I would say that keeping this card isn't a bad thing to do. About Vulture Ejection, basically it's an AoE card which has Celestial, Heaven effect, it has Retain effect, it's going to stay in your hand until you're going to use it, and whenever you're going to cast the card which is going to cost 2 AP, is going to activate and provide 1 stack of Silver Whale. Now let's speak about her unique cards, let's say. The Great Sword Aquila, this is her main AoE attacking card, and it's able to activate the Vulture Ejection. It's working in a way when you have this card in your hand. The cost of this one is going to be 2, so damage is going to be increased, and basically it's going to activate the Vulture Ejection. When we're speaking about Epiphanies, there are quite some options and there are good of them. First of all, I need to mention the one in the middle. In my personal opinion, this is a good one option because it's going to provide 1 stack of Silver Veil. This is going to improve your speed of activation, her main nuke. So this is going to work better in terms of her DPS build overall, but yeah, there is a term that with vulture ejection only in hand, you're going to get yourself one additional stack of Silver Veil. Unfortunately, there is no retain effect on this card in this situation, but again, you can kinda play around it, optimize your build to gain more stacks of Silver Veil and activate them more often. Not a bad option. The other aspects to mention here is going to be probably about the retain card, which is going to stay in your hand. It's just going to deal more damage overall. And the last one option with retrieve, basically it has 3 attempts to play this card, go back in hand immediately, play it again, and so on and so forth. And whenever you're going to have vulture ejection, the cost of this card is going to increase again up to 2, so it's going to activate the vulture ejection. Now about her overpower. This is basically a skill which is dealing tenacity damage. It's not dealing like a physical damage, it's just removing the break bar. Kinda decent. In certain cases it's providing shields, not a bad card, not a bad option, and it also helps to activate the vulture ejection. From the most useful, let's say, epiphanies that you might get here for yourself are going to be with 2 tenacity stacks, more shields overall, and you will be able to just break opponents faster. Not a bad option, but in my opinion not the most optimal. The good one option is going to be this one, which is going to apply to ravaged opponents to vulnerable. It's basically when you're going to break them, or to weaken, so they're going to deal less damage if you're not able to break them. And this might also help you to survive better, so not a bad thing to do in certain cases. The other one interesting option is for action count to enemies, which might be beneficial in certain builds, but not always. Like if we're talking about really expensive cards, you're not able to manage your AP. Like there is not that many options to, you know, play a lot of different cards. This one isn't a great fit, but if you're using her with characters who are able to provide AP and your main DPS unit, let's say, somehow is really cost effective and spamming a lot of cards within a single one turn, then this might be helpful because it's going to postpone actions of opponents and you'll be able to play more cards, deal damage, maybe kill some opponents, and in the end receive less damage. The next one, rally card. So this is an interesting one. Basically all epiphanies, except for the last one, are going to provide you additional stack of Silver Veil. And there are quite some good options here when we're speaking about the card in the middle, which is going to make the cost of these cards 2, but it's going to provide you the celestial effect, the heaven effect on this card. It can be like a cost-effective option to activate this card, to bring the vulture ejection in your hand, to play some other expensive card at the same time, so not to spend any AP for playing the rally card at all. All the rest options, yeah, they're going to cost 1 AP. It's not too expensive for sure, but whenever you're going to have like options to play something else, better to play something else and utilize Khalipe in a way like a passive one character, which is going just to play passively all her cards with vulture ejection, with rally, with celestial effect, let's say. The first one option, which is going to draw 1 highest cost card, isn't a bad option because it's going to bring into your hand just the most expensive card, and for example it's helping in certain cases whenever you played already the vulture ejection, there are no celestial cards left in your deck, so it's going to bring just whatever the most expensive next card is going to be, means scrolling the deck faster overall. The other good option is going to be the last one, but it's more in supportive ways, in a supportive case scenario, when you're not using and focusing on her damage output at all. Basically you're able to choose one card with the cost of 2 or more from the draw pile to bring it into your hand when you're again using her specifically with a character who is going to be like a main and pretty much expansive DPS unit. In this case, this might be beneficial and pretty much useful. About Epiphanies, I believe that's pretty much it. From her Ego skill, she is able to create one vulture ejection card, so in total you're going to have, like, immediately after this skill, one vulture ejection in your hand, and the other one is going to be somewhere in your draw pile or discard pile. Depends on if you played it or not during this round, during this turn. So if I'm going to show you, for example, my builds that I have, and I didn't focus on her, let's say, a lot. I didn't build her in a proper way yet, but I'm planning to fix it in the upcoming future. As you can see, for example, here I have only one vulture ejection, but ideally you wanna get yourself a couple copies. Instead of it, I have, for example, 2 copies of Greatsword Aquila, which is going to provide me 1 silver veil stack, and it's going to cost 1. And I have Rally card with the Celestial Heaven effect, which is also going to give me additional draw of the highest cost card, 1 silver veil stack, and I have 2 of them. This one card with 2 vulnerable or 2 weaken based on the state of opponents. So in total, it's like for a completely passive gameplay with her. From the other options that I have, which might be interesting, I have this one, for example, where I was lucky to get myself 2 copies of Vulture Ejection. I have 2 copies of Greatsword Aquila, one with Epiphany and it's Divine Epiphany, so it's always going to attack weaknesses. The other one is just a basic one without anything extraordinary. Here I was able to get myself also a card which is going to provide shields and 1 AP generation for 0 cost, and with her is going to give me more shields. For the overpower, you can see that this one is with vulnerable stacks to all enemies. I'm actually not sure what was the case and how I got this card. I believe from her basic Epiphanies, there are none of them which are going to apply just vulnerable no matter what. So somehow I got this card, I don't really remember how. Anyways, yeah, so this is around more like a DPS spec with 2 vulture ejection, some shields, which is not that bad, and this one is more of a shield composition supportive build for scrolling deck faster. So as you can see, I have 3 rally cards. It's going to help me to choose 1 card costing 2 or more from the draw pile, so I'm going to utilize her specifically as a proper shielder supporter for some other DPS unit with this build, specifically gain more shields, because this card rally is going to provide shields. I have a neutral cards which has a retain effect, 2 mana, but he is going to stay in your hand and is going just to provide massive amount of shields. This one is helping to scroll the deck faster and gain more shields, so this one builds specifically as a shielding one, which is working pretty much great. And actually, if we're talking about shields build specifically, this one card, Protective Shout, is actually not a bad one. If, for example, there are no ways how you're activating shields from the very beginning of the turn, and it's going to be activated only through cards specifically, this is a decent option, going to be pretty much cost effective, good amount of shields, in total 230%, and is going to apply vulnerable 1 to all enemies. So a good option to have a look at. The vulnerable is going from Epiphany, obviously, but yeah, is going to helpful again for some new builds from other characters. And the last moment to speak about is going to be for team compositions, in which cases with which teams you want to use her specifically. Her role is going to matter a lot as a shoulder for some later and higher difficulty stages in chaos runs, because they're going to be long, opponents are going to hit hard, survivability is going to matter a lot, managing of the stress level is going to matter a lot, and obviously when you have shields which are going to cover the full amount of damage which opponents are going to provide, you're not going to receive stress for all of your characters. So this is the first aspect to keep in mind. And basically the good fit is going to be Haru in this case, just they are matching pretty much decent, especially with her Celestial effect, and Haru being pretty much an expensive 1 DPS unit with a lot of high cost cards, so she's going to activate passively all of the cards from Khalipe with Celestial effect, and again in this case having Rally with the Celestial Epiphany is going to be kind of a good option. Additionally, with this team composition we're speaking about using Mika because managing AP and recovering some amount of them and also providing some healing is going to be helpful and matter a lot. The other option is going to be Karen as a DPS unit, another one AoE nuker, and in his case he has like AoE abilities and pretty much expensive cards as well, so they might match pretty much great, decent, without any questions. When we're speaking about the full shield composition, and yeah, it has options, you may use it. Here we're speaking about using Khalipe, Amir, and Magna, for example, or Maribel, 3 shielders. Nobody is going to break through your shields at all whatsoever, and with their counter attacks and passive damage abilities they're going to destroy everyone. Yeah, maybe this run is going to take a freaking eternity, but it's an option. It might work actually fairly decent. The other aspects to keep in mind is when we're going to use Khalipe as the main DPS. Let's say you are able to use her as the main DPS for the Instinct planet, specifically in Chaos Run. What kind of build we might think about in this specific case? We're going to use Khalipe as the main DPS. We need to have for her proper supports, and obviously this is going to be Mika, who is going to recover our AP, and Cassius, who is going to help find certain key cards, shuffle the deck, scroll the deck faster, provide some support abilities with his quest, and so on and so forth. So I believe this is going to be like great option. Maybe instead of Cassius you can use Nia, but I'm not sure how it's actually going to work. This is like an interesting team composition which I want to try myself, and I have already a planet created and I have prepared the team, so I'm going to try this out, and again probably later on I'm going to let you know about it. But this is probably the main team compositions which you might think about. You want to pair here with some pretty much expensive characters which are going to passively activate her celestial cards, or use her as a pure shielder for maybe any other DPS, like which are not too greedy about their passive abilities. Like for Rin, it's not going to be a great fit at all because she's all about her stance, and whenever someone is going to use an attack card, and even if passively Khalipe is going to activate her vulture ejection, this is going to prevent effects from the stance of Rin, so it's going to be interrupted and they're not like working together at all. But we might think maybe about Renoir, maybe about some other characters which are pretty much cost effective, but they're not again greedy about some usability of their cards. They don't have like any stance which you are going to follow some specific order of using different cards. Maybe it's going to work, and in this case once again we're going to speak about Khalipe as a pure shielder. But I'm not sure if it's going to be like the best fit here in this specific regards. Anyways, I believe I discussed the most important aspects about her, what to keep in mind about her abilities, about her epiphanies, what you should aim for, how to kind of build her, in which situations you might use her, and potential team compositions. Without the showcase this time, but when I'm going to have something interesting, I'm going to show it to you. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next one. Take care.